Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today, as you probably saw in the title card, we're taking a look at Transformers Legacy Galvatron, the leader class figure. Uh, and you probably are now wondering why we are starting off with Deluxe Kickback. Well, here's the thing. As some of you know, I always strive to present reviews with all the information as possible. I've always said that, you know, recently and for quite a while now, Hasbro's instructions have not been wonderful. Of course, even going back to Robots in Disguise, discovering with you the hidden weapon storage for the warrior class figures and stuff like that. And that often I pride myself on being able to discover little things that, aren't shown that help increase the enjoyment. Like with Titan's Return Sea Spray, finding the opening hatch where a Titan Master could sit. Well, in the case of Kickback, I screwed up. I was actually dancing around it, but I never put two and two together. And I have to tip my hat to fellow Cybertronian Nemesis Prime, who discovered this bonus feature that I think is basically giving us the heads up that we are going to be getting a deluxe class deluxe Insecticon Ransack from this Kickback mold at some point. Basically, what he found out is that there is a way to store these wing extensions that will give the figure a proper abdomen like a grasshopper should have. As you remember, I was showing you guys how the different ways to peg these together, and I even did make mention of this little tab section here. Well, that tab section is very important. First, let me show you. We peg these two sections together, and now we're going to come to the rear of Kickback's insect mode, and we're going to spread the legs open. And you're going to see right inside that at the base of the back, there is a little hole there. Now, I, for some reason, thought that was a secondary stand peg, even though there was the one right there. On top of that, which, why it didn't register, there's a little groove section. What you would do is take the combined weapon like so, and with the grip going into that larger peg, you'll slide it in just like that. Those that track section that was on this clear part will slide into that groove. You're locking the hips in place. You're locking the waist in place, and you've basically now given the figure an abdomen and, secondary weapon storage if you don't want to store them on the wings, and a different look. Now, of course, this is not how Kickback looked in G1. As I said in the review, I wouldn't really display the figure with these clear pieces, but it is nice that it's there. And as other people have speculated, I think this is the this is how we're going to see the difference between Kickback and Ransack. So that's about it. Let's get into the review proper and take a look at Galvatron. All right, so here's a figure I really didn't think I was going to ever take a look at. This figure was originally released in Kingdom, and I have the Kingdom version, but as many of you know, there was a problem, and that problem being that most of the Kingdom Galvatrons came with misassembled arms, shoulders to be exact. And unlike something with, say, punch counter punch, where you could easily unpeg the front end and flip the shoulder hinge around, on Galvatron the shoulders were pinned into place, and to properly do it, you needed a pin remover, and doing it the not so proper way, you ran the risk of damaging the figure, which is why I never did it, and I would never recommend to you guys doing it, because it does void the warranty and would make it very difficult to return the figure. So Galvatron was staying in its packaging and probably would never be opened, which means it would never be part of my 86 display because of that. Now also, Galvatron had some battle damage to him, which I think was a little bit of an homage to when the character appeared in Season 3, coming out of the fire bath of Char. But the character was re-released, the toy was re-released in Legacy, as you see right here, without the battle damage and with the shoulders corrected. Now, I should mention the Generation Selects releases, both the toy colors and the transitioning colors. You know, that little special release they did that was Megatron, that was supposed to represent Galvatron being reformatted from Megatron. Those did have the fixed shoulders, but those aren't the close animation look that I think most people would want, or even close to, you know, so to that. So this is what you would really want to get. And I have to say, I'm glad it came out, because this is really a fun figure. There's a lot going on. Now, starting off, we have what I would consider the fully loaded out Galvatron. I'm sure some of you have already know what this is. Basically, you have the extra weapons here, which I guess are a little bit of a double homage. First, they're an homage to the original toy that came with like a little handgun. That was one thing I was disappointed with, is the toy version of Galvatron didn't give us that toy accurate head. And also, this is a homage to the ship that Unicron gave Galvatron and the Decepticons to get the Matrix. It can, as you saw, it can store there in cannon mode, but it can also be pegged together in a combined weapon mode. Now, I don't think this is what the ship looked like. I think the ship was like flat on the bottom, but it can be held in the hands. You know, it is what it is, but really not something accurate to the movie or the Season 3 animation, so it's not something I would use. But this goes great if you have that Unicron to display it with. Also, it does come with a version of the Autobot Matrix of Leadership. And I gotta say, it's kind of funny that for years we really didn't have Matrixes, and between Kingdom and Earthrise, we've actually gotten quite a few. And Studio Series, you got Earthrise Optimus Prime came with a Matrix. Studio Series Hot Rod, I think, came with a Matrix. Yeah, it did, because it came with the blast effects. Kingdom Commander Class Rodimus Prime came with a Matrix. Leader Class Galvatron comes with a Matrix. And with his, you have this molded chain, and what's nice is there is a little peg there that does help secure it in cannon mode. You can't fit it in the barrel, like in that episode where he tried to use it as a weapon, but it is there. Now, while this is animation accurate to some scenes, it's not something, again, I'm going to display the figure with. So having Galvatron stripped down, and yes, I do think this is a close enough masterpiece version of Galvatron. It's actually to the point where I would be concerned to see what a masterpiece Galvatron would be like, because I think it would be far more complicated than it would need to be, because this transformation is involved, but it's really not that complicated, and I like the end result. So, I mean, maybe a couple more bits of articulation, but the transformation does not need to be made more complicated. So what we will do now is we will pause and we will get into said transformation. Okay, I've adjusted the camera. Hopefully this all stays in frame. But to start off, what you want to do is remove the clear barrel here from the front, as well as this connection piece from the back. Bring those two together. And there you have Galvatron's iconic arm cannon. So that is very nice. A couple different ways we can start, but I think we're going to start here from the rear. What you want to do is fold up these support struts, and then fold this whole section up into the back and make sure it snaps into place. Next, what you want to do is come to the front here and unpeg these panels just like so. They're going to let them swing out as far as they can. And then what you're going to do is unpeg these treads from the side. Now, as I remember, these do actually hook into that slot right there. That would be the chest piece in robot mode. So just make sure when going into tank mode, you do that, because it does help secure everything, lock it up, and have it look a little neat and stuff like that. So bring those all the way up just for right now to get them out of the way, so you can come in the back here and unpeg what will be the legs from that rear section and just bring them down. And as you bring them down, of course, you're going to push that section forward. It happens. It's natural. Bring these sections down just like that. Again, keep them out of the way. Fold this section all the way back and around. Just, again, you're really just working on getting things out of the way so you can move other pieces in. Now, this section part is a little tricky. You want to fold up this whole section so it points towards the back. Then you want to open up what was the part that the barrel pegged into, and that will allow it to move the chest and flip out Galvatron's head. Now, there is a tab there and a slot there that this is supposed to peg into, but it's really not going to work until you get that chest piece pegged into place right there. And it's very important you do that, so then you can come up and peg this section in. That will actually help make sure that whole unit tabs into place. Bring this back section up. It'll peg into the barrel, and then take this little tip piece. Oh, you should probably whip it around first, and it will stay behind Galvatron's head, just like so. And let me adjust the camera a little bit more so we get everything in frame so you can see it like that. Next, what you can do, and what I would suggest, is bringing up the armpit joints. Now, they peg into here, and then they accordion down into the side. This first section is a little tricky, and you're going to use a little bit of force to get it to snap into place. And I would do that on both sides before you bring the arms down proper. And those are going to stay really good and tight. And while we're here, those will form the side skirts, so push them back. And then just push these down. That will come into place. Bring the arms down. Bring up the side pylons there. Position them as you will. Come down here to the legs. Separate them. They peg here at that joint, right there, and at that inner tab. So you got three really secure bits right there. Rotate the legs so the feet and kneecaps are facing forward. Come around the back. Unpeg this purple section from the side. It's on a double hinge, so it's going to swing around, and we'll just peg in like that. In the box, those actually can't come pegged into the side, so there's a little pre-transformation to make sure so you can have the proper robot mode. And also, coming down to the bottom here, these heel pieces are folded in. So again, something else you have to be aware of when getting it out of getting it out of the packaging to get into the proper robot mode. Now, to finish off, we'll do the arms. Rotate these treads straight, and then double hinge them up, and they will soft tab into a hole at the back of the shoulder. Do it again on this side. And then finally, what you can do is unpeg the arms down and flip out the fists. And there you have Galvatron in its robot mode. Bring in the arm cannon. You have two posts here. I like to use the upper post, or upper hole on the bicep. The Matrix at this point can just sit loosey-goosey around his neck. And then we come with the little handgun weapons. And there are tabs here on the side that you got to line it up just so, and they will slot into place. And there you have Galvatron in its robot mode, completely armored up. Again, this is not how I'll display the figure, but I wanted you to show it, so I'm just going to go ahead, remove these at least, since they stick up a little. But again, as you saw, they do have the post to be handguns. And believe it or not, there is a nice little bit of articulation to Galvatron. Universal joints in the shoulders. You have that double knee bend. The wrists do rotate. There is rotation at the bicep, but keep in mind that you have to unpeg those treads to use it. I know that to do some nice cannon poses, you have to kind of do that. That's all right. Head is on what I would consider an expressive ball joint. I dig it. Legs are, because of those nice side panels, they're very nice level of movement there. Double, single jointed knees, but gives you what you want. Feet, you do have, of course, ankle pivot right there. So that's kind of cool. So, yep. And I think now it's time for the comparison with Kingdom Galvatron. Like I said, I wasn't going to open the figure up until I got it. I got this Legacy version to do the review. And as you can see, very slight difference in the shoulders. It's actually kind of hard to see on camera, but let me see if I can show it from the side here. Yeah, from the side here, you can actually see it. The shoulders here sit right below this paneling here for the pylon, where here they sit up much higher. So that is the thing. But you can also see that the basic lavender purple color is exactly the same. What is different is, the Decepticon logos are the same. What is different is the battle damage. You don't have it in the chest, on the arms. You don't have that staining there around the boot. What would be I would consider the boot cuffs. So yeah, a lot going on there. Also, in terms of the arm cannon, the barrel, you have this like smoked plastic look to it, like it's just been fired, and here it's just straight clear. Now, I have heard that you can remove these paint applications, the battle damage, using some rubbing alcohol. Again, do so at your own risk and leisure. Because you can also I assume you can also take off the regular paint. There it is from the rear. Nothing, overly special. But it's Galvatron. And like I said, this is probably the best version of Galvatron we're going to have until Masterpiece. And even then, I'm a little concerned with how the Masterpiece is going to turn out. So, yep, I think that's about it for the review. We'll pause, and I'll come back with my final thoughts. If you've never bought Kingdom Galvatron, then I highly recommend picking up this version. This is really the best Galvatron we're going to get for quite some time. It's far and away better than the Titans Return version. It is far and away better than the G1 version. I'm trying to think of other styles of Galvatrons that were, these updates to the G1. And like I said, this is a Masterpiece alike, Masterpiece Light. I, again, am concerned to see what a Masterpiece version would be like. But yeah, it's a fun figure. The transformation is involved, but it's not complex. I actually got it after doing it the first time. There's a lot of cool parts. I like how the arms double hinge down. I like how the legs fold up and then the feet fold down to form that stabilizing leg. And one thing I also noticed, and I don't know if I can't be the first one to ever notice this, but look at Galvatron's chest. Doesn't that look a little bit like Unicron's? I wonder if this was like, and the crown. I wonder if it's like a little bit of like a smaller Unicron figure going on here. But I got this figure off of Amazon. It was supposed to ship in May. It actually ended up shipping early if you had pre-ordered it at the beginning of the month. So that's really cool. But it is also showing up at brick and mortar retail locations like Target and Walmart, along with G2 Optimus Prime, which is the casemate. Amazon is not shipping G2 Optimus Prime. Apparently, Amazon is one of those retailers. They get the solid cases of one figure. So I think they got the solid case of Galvatron. So yeah, I do recommend it. Now, if you have the Kingdom version, and you haven't done the shoulder fix, there's workarounds around it, but it does affect the transformation. And really, unless you have a proper Galvatron figure in hand, you don't notice the difference. And the battle damage, you can take or leave. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to rush out and buy this one, but if you were like me and really were not thrilled with the misassembly, which was really my big issue. I don't really, the battle paint, either way, doesn't strike me. Then yeah, maybe go double dip. Maybe wait for a sale, because I think the Galvatron might be around for a while, since it is a carryover from the previous line. But who knows? That's about it for the review. If you like this review, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. That helps to communicate to YouTube through the algorithm that my channel should be exalted and held upon high. If you want to make the ultimate sign of support, have a Patreon. Card here in the corner. Hyperlink in the description below. You guys know the spiel with that. But as I always say, Patreon is just a cherry on top of an already generous sundae. You guys have really supported me through the years, and we just hit 4,000 subscribers, and each one of those subscribers was earned, and I appreciate you guys sticking around, even though I think most of them are dead channels by now. So I'm talking to you guys, my usual 100, 150 views. Right on you. We're here. All right. That's about it for the review. For Legacy Galvatron, we will see you next time.